and we should be all live and ready to go. Welcome everyone to PSGL F4 on the PlayStation side of things. We are here for round number 7 around Bad Heaven. Pretty much China. It's the only good track for Bad on this calendar. So the question is, will we see a Bad driver win? My name is Simon, and I am here joined today by Jake W. Combs. Hello, Jake.
Yeah, hello. Good to be here for round number 7. It's been an unpredictable season. We had a absolutely chaotic race last week in Baku. Not too surprising there, but yeah, like you mentioned, could be some surprise names in the front this week, and I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. The qualifying is at least dry, but I am a reserve commentator, so I've been pretty much everywhere. But you have been solely here for F4 this season, and F4 to me it looks like a very interesting grid with drivers that can be very, very quick. But F4 as a lower tier, it is a tier where you can see some more surprises in. Whilst in F2 you have a bit more consistency, which I do love about F4. Coming into China this week, Jake. Do you expect to see any surprises?
I absolutely would. We saw in Baku last week just a lot of mistakes from drivers. I don't think many drivers would have ended the race last week and thought I did a really good job out there. It was a race of mistakes, a race of unpredictability, and I think we'll hopefully see a little bit more. Obviously, we want to see great action, but we do also want to see want it to be clean as well, and hopefully China delivers that a bit more than Baku did. But the championship's really close, which we always like to see, and hopefully we'll see a few of the main championship contenders maybe have a difficult race tonight, because that always makes things exciting.
Yeah, because it's currently a battle between the both Alfa Romeos, Kart Racer 22 and NLR Ruti Khalid, actually being both NLR drivers, and I think ADT Daniel is also an NLR driver. So in F4, currently P1, 2 and P3 are all NLR drivers, but Kart Racer off the back of 3 very good runs, winning in Austria, getting the podium in Bahrain and having a DNS in Singapore, but winning the last race in Baku. So it seems like both of the Alfa Romeos are the ones to watch out for. ADT Daniel taking the championship lead earlier on. He was a championship leader, I believe, in Austria. Last time I commentated over him. He won in Bahrain, but he only got 5 points in Azerbaijan with a 0 points scoring in Austria, meaning he's not the champion current title winner anymore. But let's go on board with a lap from RC. Jake, take it away.
Yeah, through the super long turns 1 and 2, bending into turn 3. It's a really nice section to drive if you hook it up. It's maybe a little bit frustrating at times, particularly on heavy fuel. And now down running towards turn number 6, where of course we saw Ricciardo do that superb late braking move all those years ago on I believe it was Sebastian Vettel. And now winding through turns 7 and 8. They've become less tricky, I'd say, as the cars have evolved over the years, because you can now take it the first section pretty flat out, down a few gears, and then now into turns 9 and 10. Turn 10 simply an acceleration zone before another short straight, before you brake hard for turn 11. His lap's looking pretty smooth so far. And then through turns 12 and 13, which lead you onto this massive back straight. You've got to make sure you get the power down correctly. You don't want any rear snap, because that will ultimately affect your lap time quite significantly. And then now you've just got to wait and pick your braking spot. The turn 14 probably going to be the favourite overtaking spot, I'd imagine, in the race. He misses the apex ever so slightly, but does get it turned in. And then it's just you don't even notice really turn 15. And then the final turn 16. Nicely done. That is a lap of the Shanghai International Circuit, and a pretty good one by the looks of it. And he sets the opening benchmark of a 32.1.
As he, of course, being a driver on the controller, he has been practicing quite a lot. From what I know, the FAR driver has been on absolute fire in the practice sessions, and he was like, as long as I don't bottle qualifying, I'll be alright. But he's currently a second clear compared to Tails BR, because he slots in with a 33.1 next across the line. Should be an Alpha Tauri, and there is an Alfa Romeo of Uti Khalid, and he's very close to Asi, 2 tenths only behind him, 32.3, and then ADT Daniel, so 2 of the 3 championship contenders in P2 and P3 currently. Let's go on board with the other Alpha, whilst Tails BR has gone off on his outlap, and Kart Racer is actually on an outlap as well.
Yeah, and Slash in the Haas puts it onto the front row of a grid, so but as Francesco now dips into the 131s, so we're seeing already the top 3 drivers you wouldn't particularly put in the current championship fight. So the early signs are we are going to get a mixed up grid, and where does Kart Racer fit into that? He's just begun his lap, I can see, as Marcel now moves up to P3, so Rutli Hullit and Daniele got some work to do after those opening laps.
Yeah, definitely, but it is always interesting to see these guys pop up here, and China is not an ordinary track. Of course, you got these long flowing corners and not really these slow acceleration corners, which really it was a big advantage on the wheel there, and being able to quickly maneuver from side to side. That's where the wheel really gains compared to the pad. And really, this is such heavily favored pad track, especially back in the day when the pad traction was a real thing. You had just a lot more grip when you go on the throttle on a controller, and it helped you so much. But let's go on board with Kart Race, because Kart Race is actually on the wheel here, but he is now coming up towards that very long straight, whilst VIR Daniel puts it into P4. But let's see Kart Racer, our current championship leader, if he can actually get close to the time of Juventus Racing Francesco. He has been quick by the looks of it in the practice sessions. I think a lot of drivers have been really showing their pace, but I don't know, can they perform in the real session? We'll see it now. Kart Racer coming towards the line. I don't think it's a 31, it's a 32.1, and he puts it up into 3rd place. Not quite pole, but he is up there.
Yeah, probably wouldn't be too happy with P3 under normal conditions, but obviously if he sees where his championship contenders have gone in relation to him, I think he'll be reasonably happy with that first run. Francesco, if I'm honest, does tend to pop up near the front of the timesheets in qualifying quite often, but for some reason the races just never seem to quite hook up for him. He won the opening round, I believe, at Spain, but since then he's struggled for consistency, but the pace is definitely there. I'd say for both McLarens, they are very quick over one lap. It's just whether they can do it over a race distance.
Yeah, and I would say the consistency has been there from Francesco, but not the kind of consistency you would like to see, because after the win, he had 3 races in a row where he scored 0 points, which is very far from ideal. Then he did take the fastest lap with 7 points in Bahrain, which showed it up to 8, and then getting 3 points there in Baku as well. Provotox had 2 massive moments, and he still put it up into 13. So I think with those 2 moments where he definitely lost a lot of time, I wonder where he puts it up there. But it's interesting to see currently all these pace from the drivers. But Francesco is a guy that is really quick. But someone else I would like to point some attention to is Slash, because he's currently 5th in the standings, and he's currently 6th here on this grid. But Slash is always very quick. He's a guy to watch out for, and he won in France, and he really won Austria, where he got kind of screwed over. But I know that he has some very good pace, and he is always someone to watch out for, and I believe that he does also like this track. So I wonder how well he should be able to compete here, but that should always remain a question. Meanwhile, Enel Sabi is on the lap.
Yeah, he is just coming up to turn number 14. Slash was unlucky as well in Baku last week. He only got a point, and he really should have been a lot higher than 10th. A couple of things just didn't really work out the way he would have wanted. I think he was running up inside the top 5 for most of the race, as Svarsby goes into P12. His first sector looked on the money, but the lap sort of faded away as it went on. And as well, you mentioned Provotox having a few...
Yeah, definitely. You don't really know what to expect, and I've kind of lost touch with the tyre around China, but I do believe it's quite a heavy track on the tyres, because those are these long swinging corners. But the main key here for the race is your ERS management, because if you run out of ERS on that long straight, you would easily lose up to 4/10 on its own already. I'm on board with Asi now, and he has got a very quick sector 1 on the pad. That's where you gain the advantage in that first sector. Going purple, 1/10 of a second quicker already, so he's already looking towards the 32.0, but he goes out a little bit wider, which is very far from ideal. Now a double left here. You're going to go as early on the throttle here and just keep that momentum going, and then pushing it towards the outside there. We'll see the sector 2 split. Is he quicker? Is he slower? He's pretty much matching his last sector 2. He's actually gone 1,000 of a second slower than he did last time around, so he needs a small improvement in the third sector to go into first place. But you got that long straight here where you don't really change a lot, but it will depend the outcome of this race. Will there be drivers with a lot lower downforce to gain a lot of momentum on the straight and having to push more in the long swinging corners, or will they pick more downforce, which helps them in the corners, gain some time there, but means that they will be a sitting duck in the race? I think most drivers will be doing the first thing, but let's see what Asi will do. Will Asi put himself up in the lead? It's been a good final sector, and he goes up in the lead, 31.790. That is the lap that we're talking about.
Yeah, that was a brilliant final sector. Found about 3/10 in that final part of the lap, so did really well through the last few corners. And like you say, with that huge long straight, you really don't want to put too much downforce on, because in the race you will find it hard to defend against drivers. As Tales goes up to P3, a podium last time out in Baku. His fortune's just starting to improve as Ruti Hullet has a huge spin out the final corner and crashes into the wall, and he was looking on course to improve, so that's a huge blow for him. And of course now he'll have to do a slow lap back to the pits because he's past the pit entry.
Yeah, the Fender losing a lot of valuable time, and he's just pretty much lost a full run. That's going to put him in a very good position for the race start. Slinky's only got a small improvement. He's only in P15, which disappoints me because I expected him to be higher up there. Daniel now starting a lap as well, so the next guy across the lines should be Slash, but he's aborted on the lap as well. So no one really on the lap, but only 6 minutes to go. I'm expecting a lot of drivers to at least put in their second lap anytime soon, but it's not quite going there.
Daniele goes up to 4th. Diogo Silva, currently in P9, and has had a bit of an anonymous season, but he could be one of the drivers you're talking about, because he's on a very good lap at the moment, and Diogo Silva moves on to the front row of the grid. So there we go. I'm guessing he's on a pad based on that lap time, but nevertheless.
Francesco coming towards the line. Can he beat Asi? He can. Just about a few thousandths of a second. He goes quickest of anyone so far. Who is next across the line? I could potentially beat that lap. I'm trying to see. I can't really seem to find it. Kart Racer has bailed out on maybe Daniel on our lap, but he's not really improving. So it seems like everyone is just preparing for that final run currently.
Yeah, Julian is on a slight improvement. Where does he go? Up to P11, which is just in front of Ruti Hullet, who's really going to need a good final run here because he's slipping down the order quite a bit. Provatox is on a lap, and you mentioned that he made a few mistakes on his first run, so I didn't quite catch his second sector time, but it'll be interesting to see if he can improve from his current P16.
Ooh, and McLaren has gone very straight on. That's Slinky. I don't know what he was doing. Maybe a brake failure. Because normally you don't go that far straight. Even if you lock up, that's interesting. Let's hope it's not anything permanent from him. But let's stay on board with Protox. So Slash goes up into P3. 31.871 from him. But let's go on board with the Dutchie Protox. Can he put himself up there? This final sector looked a lot more clean, but it's only P14. That disappoints me.
Yeah, not the lap I was expecting either, and looking at the top 5 right now, it's not the top 5 many would have predicted, but Francesco leading the way, and it looks almost like a private battle between him and ASY for the pole today, because they're the top 2 that just keep swapping positions. I'll be interested if anyone from outside the top 2 can challenge them, but right now it does look like they're the 2 main contenders for pole position.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be interesting to see if who is able to challenge them. Slash being interesting there up in P3. And Diogo Silva is not someone who you normally expect to be quite up there. And if he's already in P4, maybe he could surprise us all later on as well. I'm expecting Daniel, Kart Racer, and Ruti Hullet to make big jumps as well. Sabi, normally also has quite some decent pace. So I wonder what he is able to do. But Zabi, as a reserve, has currently not scored a single point, so he's been very unlucky in this championship. Let's look at the constructors' standings. Meanwhile, whilst everyone is in the pit lane preparing for their final runs, Alfa Romeo is 1-2 in the driver standings, so they are obviously also very far clear in the constructors' title. 102 points. They are leading ahead of Alpine, which is ADT Daniel and Provatox. They only have 56 points, but behind that, trust me, it gets very interesting. McLaren, 39 points, has 30 points, and then Aston Martin's got 31 points, with AlphaTauri having 34 points. I don't think that graphic is quite right, PSGL. But yeah, Williams and Ferrari is wrong as well, because Williams got 27 points there and 7th apparently, and Ferrari with 28 points is in 8th. I'm not here to slander PSGL, I promise. Don't fire me, Connor. But your graphics are in the wrong standings, which makes it annoying to do this. But all I was trying to say is that it's very close from third onwards for P3 in constructor standings. But this season, I was forgetting the word. This season's still taking very long. I mean, we're currently in round 7 and you've got 11 rounds. So after this, you still got 4 more races, which could absolutely turn these tables around. Even if you're dead last right now and you win all of the next 5 races, you still have that opportunity to become a champion. So, yeah, you have to push every single round from now on, and it will be very interesting to see who gets on top.
Yeah, absolutely, and yeah, the admin of F4 just needs to rearrange it for next time, but we've still got in that midfield 6 teams separated by 12 points, so it's very close in that midfield area, and you have to wonder, with Alfa Romeo having such a big advantage, it really gives the drivers all the excuse in the world to start thinking, alright, we're in charge of a Constructors' Championship, we can battle it out Hamilton-Rosberg-esque for the championship. You know, we can afford to lose a few points because we've got such an advantage, and really almost make this fight personal, but they do have to be wary at the same time because they haven't got the Hamilton-Rosberg advantage in the Drivers' Championship. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Alfa Romeo drivers approach this, particularly when we get to the last couple of rounds and the gloves are off.
Definitely, it will be very, very interesting. I'm currently on board with Francesco. You got the 2 Red Bulls who were up ahead earlier. I might actually go on board with Thales because he is the first person inside of the top 5 or the championship contenders that will be doing his lap. You could go on board with Lynx, but he's currently very far down. He's 1.2 seconds slower than the current leader, so I don't think he should be a massive threat to all the leaders right here. Just ahead of Lynx, you got Toxic Tomato, who's just about gone out, and he's spun on his out lap, so he's gone out very, very late, and I do not think that he will make it. Thales, though, going 1/10 quicker. It's a 0.2, which I know pad drives could go at least 2/10 quicker than that, but a 0.2 for wheels a very, very strong banker start of that lap. Tails now keeping it a lot cleaner compared to Asia's lap that we were looking at before. So it currently seems to be a very, very good lap. Going towards the Sector 2 split, that is where we can see the most, because you gain the most time in Sector 2. It's 2.5 tenths quicker. There we go. So that should at least be challenging for Diogo Silva's time already. And now the question is, can he find 1/10, maybe 2/10 in the final sector? Because if he can, that will be able to put him on pole position. Toxic Metal did not make the line, so I hope he doesn't block Lynx off all that much. But let's quickly go on board with Lynx for him coming across the line, because he might just surprise us all, but he's not been on a good lap at all. He sets a 34.8. That is very far off the pace. That is now coming towards the line. Can he put himself up in P1 and surprise everyone in F4? He goes only to P2, which is still absolutely impressive. Francesco just about going quicker. He invalidates on the final corner. No improvements from him. Slinky only a small improvement. You got Sabi behind there. Slinky going up to P15, beating Sabi. Sabi invalidating in the final corner there. You got Asi coming towards the line now. He's going slower. Can he improve in the final sector? No, he can't. It is P3 for Asi unless people start beating him. Daniel does not improve. Kart Racer coming towards the line now. He puts it up in P6, but then Ruti Khalid, can he improve? P8 only.
Watch out for Slash. He's 10 foot through the middle sector. Could Slash be about to take pole position for Haas? He's turn 4 through turn 14. Nice, he's got a car up in front of him, but shouldn't cause him any issues at all. Just got one corner left to navigate. Don't run too wide. That was the mistake Francesco made. Slash to the line. Oh, he loses out in the final sector.
And barely any improvements up in the top. Only Tallies really making that jump from P5 to P2. He puts himself on the front row, but that has been a very interesting qualifying session. I think a lot of people showing that they are quick, that they are compatible, that they want to win. I'm sorry for the burp, by the way. A lot of people showing that they want to win. You got 2 Italians in the top 3 as well, which is interesting. A battle between the Italians. I don't think we've seen that all that often this season, but I think it will be a battle that we see here. An Italian, Brazilian and Italian in the top 3 is not something that we see all that often. Then, looking back, we got Slash in P4, Diogo Silva in P5, Kart Racer and VIR Daniel in P6 and 7. ADT Daniel, Fleddy and Marcel Grisny round out the top 10. And behind them you got Julian Provetox, Ruti Galit, the person who's in P2 in the standings in P13, Rodas, Slinky, Tsabi, Lynx, Lol Nico and Toxic Tomato rounding out the grid.
Yeah, not too sure why Nico didn't do a lap time in qualifying. To my knowledge, he hasn't got a qualifying ban. I know he got a post-race penalty that took him off the podium last week, but as far as I'm aware, he could have run in that qualifying session, but maybe chose not to, which is a bit surprising given he is in the top he's 6th in the championship rather, level with Slash, so you would have thought he would have wanted to run, but yeah, very interesting really when you haven't got any of the you've got the only really Slash who's near the top of a championship right at the front of the field. It's a very mixed up qualifying session, and some of the championship contenders are going to be a little bit further down than they're perhaps used to.
Yeah, but it also makes it interesting, of course, seeing the drivers having to make their way up the field. It's what you need to be able to do to be a champion. Fernando Alonso once said that Lewis Hamilton is only good when he's up in the front, but he has showed some majestic comeback drives in the past as well. We got 10 seconds left. Who do you expect to win, Jake?
I'm going to put my money on Slash right now.
Slash. I like that bat, to be fair. I have to be a bit biased for my old team. I say Asi, but we got 5 red lights going on for F4 in China. Francesco on pole position, Tallies in P2 on mediums and the light out, and away we go. And let's see who has the better start. It currently seems like it is Francesco. He is up in P1 and absolutely running there. Asi making a dive from you. It's very wide up in here in turn 1, so you can see a lot of people going around the outside, but then getting beaten by drivers going up in the inside. You got Lynx and Nico who have spun round. They are fully out, not fully out, but they have spun and maybe have damage as well. And there goes someone around. That is Fleddy and Aston Martin there. Unfortunately, he spun around and loses a bit. Tallies goes up in the lead, and there's contact between Francesco and Asi. And as Francesco has gone round after the contact, Tallies up in P1. Asi hits the rear tire of Francesco. Let's hope for him he doesn't have any damage. Francesco did not lose all that much time. He is only in P12. But meanwhile, he does have Ruti Khaled behind him. So it's a very interesting start. And Tallies immediately making great use of those medium tires, running away for more than 1 second.
Yeah, that's why I had a huge moment out of turn 8 and really back to the field up behind. So that's pretty perfect for Towers. It gives him a big advantage on the quicker tyre to really make advantage while he's got the better tyre on his car. So already 1.4 second lead, and you've got Kart Racer potentially looking like before they get to turn 14, who's going to be braver on the brakes? Car Racer looks like he's got more confidence on the brakes. Can he get it stopped in time, though? Not quite. It's going to be side by side up to turn 16, but surely Car Racer's got that one done, and he has. So really nice start from Car Racer, who makes a habit of gaining a few places at the start of races.
Yeah, that was a really nice overtake from Kart Racer, and it is what he needed to do to really maintain his championship lead, because there are no real rivals up ahead of him. Lynx spun again, by the way, on that opening lap, so he already has spun twice now. It is not really a good race for him, and I believe Lynx is on the pad as well, or he has recently switched the wheel. That could be an option as well, but I do remember him being a member of the pad family. Tallies though really making good use of the medium tires. 50% of ERS only, so he didn't really burn a lot from it, but he does already have that 2.1 second lead. He just wants to push and wants to drivers behind to start fighting, but I think Asi and Slash are smart enough to know that they should not be fighting all that much. They should work together and be one team. It will be interesting to see if Asi is going to try to break the DRS of Slash up ahead, because that gap is currently 9.5, then small mistake there from Asi maybe, but he doesn't really lose that much time from it. Asi, he might be looking to break out of that DRS already very early on into that race. He is burning the ERS, Slash not burning the ERS through to follow him, and that means that Asi will be breaking the DRS on hards, which will be absolutely crucial for the remainder of the race.
Yeah, and I'm just having to keep an eye on Provotox, another of the medium tyre starters. Over, I wonder if he just had a bit of a hit on the back there from Marcel into the hairpin. It looks very close. I'm just wondering if Provotox and Daniele are in communication with each other as teammates, because it would make a lot of sense right now for Provotox to be allowed to go in front, and it looks like that's exactly what's just happened. So usually I curse things, but it looks like I called that one pretty well.
Yeah, I don't think they are in bias together, knowing Provotox a little bit, but the teamwork can always be there, and it's good to acknowledge that your teammate is on a different set of tires. That is glitched on my timing screen. I hope that it's all good for you.
No, I've got the same thing. It says he's last on my screen.
That normally is not all that promising. That is very annoying.
Yeah, so to anyone who's just tuned in, Towers is leading this race to our knowledge, but the timing screen is not reflecting that, which is obviously annoying. Hopefully it corrects itself, but in the meantime we're not really too aware of what his lead is.
You know what I want to try?
ASY.
If you leave a rejoin, it might fix itself, but you could try it.
You want me to leave and rejoin?
Yeah, to see if it works. I'll invite you.
Yeah, okay.
Oh no, it's only EA invites.
Do I have a... Oh no, I don't have a spare. I might be able to join from my first invite.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll give it. I really hope so, otherwise this...
Oh, that's...
well,
why would it be... Oh, you're just out of the session for me now.
Yeah, I'm going to try it. I think I've got an invite, so I should be okay.
Alright. Provotox, meanwhile, has spun. So he was all the way up in P5, really fighting on that medium compound of tires. Just absolutely overcooked the tires, tried to turn in there, and nearly lost it again. Provotox losing out there. Tallies is now 26.1 seconds quicker than everyone else, it says. Oh, he's back up. He's back up. It's fixed itself. Whilst you joined. So, I think the leaving and rejoining actually helped.
You're welcome, Towers. What's it? So his lead is over 2 seconds.
3.0 seconds. And it's all very clear now. But Tallies is only on 20% of ERS. Also, see yellows. And that is, I think, Toxic Tomato. He is in the wall indeed. How is he spun there? Oh, he spun on the exit. I think I thought for a moment he slid all the way across there, which could only happen really after contact, but he's just spun it on the exit. Toxic Tomato, he's a veteran in this league racing scene, but he's just not having the best of luck here on this season of PSGL, and I hope to see him back up there on the next couple of games, because he always had the pace to be very, very quick.
Yeah, and wow, Towers is lead now the 4 second mark. I'm assuming that's what it says for you as well.
Oh, it's a straight, but it's not updating, so if it updates every lap, it's all good. At least we see... Oh, he spun it! He's in the wall! It's fixed itself now. Tallies is in the wall on the mediums. He's absolutely been there. It's the commentator's curse right there. He was on the mediums, fully in control. He spinned again and he's broken his wing. That is the commentator's curse right here. I am really sorry, Tallies. But, oh my days, that is so unfortunate.
It really is.
It's fixed the timing.
Yeah.
He did lose again.
He must have been pushing so hard on those medium tyres, and must have been not been able to believe his eyes when he saw the lead he had, and it's just all gone away from him. And Francesco at the start, and now Towers later on in the race on lap 5. We're seeing drivers at the front have mistakes or have contact, and it's again, it's another unpredictable F4 race.
Yeah, but it's the chaos that we as commentators love. and the people watching love it unless it's a favorite driver. But the drivers hate it. They just would love a clean race where no one spins and they're able to push it to their absolute limits, knowing that the grip is there. Ideally return to the last game and then absolutely push like crazy. But that is of course not what you hope for, what you can get. And you have to deal with the current situation that you're in. As he is on a very low percentage of ERS, 33% currently. And if you compare it to Kart Racer, he is on 75. And behind him, Diogo Silva is nearly out of the DRS of Kart Racer, and he is only on 30% of ERS. So it is interesting to see if we will be seeing a big break here, very ahead of the train.
Yeah, Daniele will be seeing that gap develop in front of him between Diogo Silva and Kart Racer, and he'll want to try and get past Diogo Silva and not let his champion front. Slash now is the one in position to try and fight ASY, and like you mentioned about the battery usage, he's in a very strong position in compared to the Ferrari driver, and we'll see if he can put that to good use. That wasn't 13, that's what he'll be looking for the most.
Yeah, but it's currently not about all that much of being in the lead. Of course, you have to be in the lead on the final lap of the race, and that's when you have to win and perform. Was this time Julian is out of the DRS, but you have a big mistake of Marcel Grisny up ahead, and now Marcel Grisny is out of the DRS. But there's the DRS detection point. I think he will be missing it, but he does have 60% of ERS to burn himself back in the DRS. But the cap is now 1.3 seconds, not 3.5 seconds. What I was gonna say, 1.3 seconds.
Julian had a massive moment through turns 12 and 13, trying to get up to the back of Marcel because he probably sensed there was an opportunity there, but now he's under threat from Rodas, but of course he still has a DRS, which should help him defend. Rodas thinking about sending it, but decided against it. But now Julian finds himself under threat as we've got the two McLarens fighting further behind. Francesco moving past Slinky. I don't know if Slinky has damage or something, but he's lost a couple of places in the McLaren on those mediums.
Yeah, indeed. I think it's the mediums already starting to fall off. Compared to someone who's been very dominant this race, Francesco, he is very quick, and we know that. So I think that has also been a small influence of there as well. But what I would have done if I was the McLaren's engineer, I would have absolutely let Slinky burn on the back straight a few times to get back in the DRS train. But Francesco now has to do it, and he is on 3% of ERS, which is very, very far from ideal. And it's not something that you would like to deal with. Julian has only got 6% of ERS as well, and he has fully lost connection to the train. So the top 6 is now in the DRS train, which will make it a lot harder for Ruti Khalid to get back up there and to defend his P2 spot currently in the title, in the standings, and maybe also even attack his teammate but rival Kart Racer in the standings. Kart Racer currently able to extend.
Yeah, and Kart Racer doing what I think I've pretty much seen every time he's in a DRS train. He always seems to have the most battery use of anyone in the train, so he's very good at keeping with the pace while still saving his battery. We didn't quite see the electric pace of him in qualifying, but he's clearly very comfortable in the race, and that extra battery usage will come in good use later on, especially when pit stops start to happen and drivers go for an undercut potentially, as Ruti Hullet and Rodas are fighting away for P8. Ruti Hullet now has that position. I don't know if that's an overtake or if he was defending that.
Ruti Hullet got past Rodas.
Yeah.
And Ruti Hullet will now be looking to make that move on Julian and then maybe drive himself indeed in that DRS train ahead, like I was just talking about. But he is on absolutely no ERS, and you barely gain any ERS on this track. When I first went on board with Asi, he had 32% of ERS, and he currently has 33% of ERS. So you don't gain up in the out alone. And Kart Racer has only gained around 10%. It's not like Kart Racer has been burning, I think, anything even. So it's been interesting to see Kart Racer there not not regenning as much as we normally expect. Which means that you have to be extra more careful on the DRS and the ERS. And if you just lose it, you lose not only the DRS for that amount of time, but you lose so much time later on in the race. You just, every single lap, they got DRS on that long straight. You can just see them pull away. You have to burn a lot of ERS and pace and tire wear to get back in sector 1, in sector 2, to only to lose it again in sector 3.
Yeah, I saw Kart Racer burn a tiny bit out of turn 13, only for like literally a second. I think it was just a case of just keeping him within touch, making sure that he's right there if any mistakes are made. You feel like Slash is in a position where he could overtake, but you almost wonder if he's thinking it's not really worth it at this stage of the race. He's actually better sticking behind the Ferrari and just having the DRS and potentially having that option to undercut when the pit stops come into effect.
Yeah, definitely, because pit stop is also a huge aspect of this game. And there goes Asi.
No!
He has spun it on traction. He has lost quite a bit of time, but he's not fully out of it. He is in the second DRS right now, no damage, which is, I guess, lucky for the Italian, but he was fully in control. This is the second time we've seen someone in the lead make a mistake, which cost them a lot of time and momentum. Asi now in P7, and he's gonna have to work together with Julian to get back in the DRS train, which is maybe what Ruti Khalid needed to keep his championship chances more alive.
You almost don't want to be in the lead in this race. It doesn't seem like the place to be.
Julian, massive mistake there, somehow keeping it straight at the end, but the gap is now 1.7 seconds. He's going so slow. Asi is pushing him through the corners, being like, go quicker please, we're losing so much time. And as a result of that, Ruti Khalid can go up the inside. He is having to absolutely burn anything, but Asi can just burn a little bit more. He's not flashing, and he will immediately go past Julian there as well, because that move is coming. Trust me on that. Asi there now going towards the outside and should be able to easily outbreak him. If Julian is smart, he lets him go, and he does. Asi now up in P6, and he is now the person that has to catch the DRS train that he has been driving away all by himself. And there's now been a split between Kart Racer and Diogo Silva, because Kart Racer has now given a 1.4 seconds gap to Diogo Silva, and with 80% of ERS, it seems like Kart Racer will be on towards a very dominant victory, but Slash also has 60% of ERS, and he is not the slowest one of us.
No, and you just never know who's going to make a mistake next, because we've seen a few of them so far, and Julian, they're really detaching quite a few drivers from the next group of cars with his poor exit, and also now under threat from Ruti Hullet. He's not going to be liking how this race is unfolding, seeing Daniele and Kart Racer in front of him and him not really within touching distance. Toxic Tomato has retired in the pits, so that won't bring out any safety car or anything like that.
No, I tried to just about score to Toxic Tomato, and just before I got to him, he retired, which is unfortunate. Toxic Tomato had about 3 spins this race on the medium tyre, so I understand why he did retire, but it's just not his game, like I said previously. Asi unable to really gain up in the DRS train for now. I think he will be doing a slight undercut towards the medium tyres a bit earlier.
Oh, Julian's had another moment through turn 13, and this is going to be so frustrating for Ruti Hullet. He has barely any battery to use, and now he's going to come under threat from Rodaz.
And here comes Francesco. He's going to make it 3 wide there. 1 wheel on the grass there. Fully up in the inside. Who's going to break the latest? It is the waves of Rodas. Francesco up the inside there. Gets a little nudge from Ruti Khalid. It is all happening down there. Julian just making mistake after mistake after mistake. And he got done there by Rodas. And Ruti Khalid there going from P8 all the way down to P10. Losing a lot of time there. And it seems like Julian wants that place back. He is looking there, but he just ended up being a bit wide there in turn 1, so he loses the position. Rodas is flashing as well, so he should be able to get it back. Next lap, Francesco though, on a good comeback race after that contact on lap 1.
Yeah, it really is. Coming back through the field, and it's good to see they didn't have any too bad damage from that earlier contact, and he's fighting his way back through the field. And Ruti Hullet now down to P10. And probably getting pretty frustrated in that cockpit. And Slinky as well in P11, hanging on to those mediums. I'm going to hazard a guess that he won't be too long before him and the other medium tyre runners think about making a pit stop, because I'm guessing they'll be pretty worn at this stage.
Yeah, I think so as well. But I think it's more important to see when the hard runners will pit towards medium tyres, because medium tyres are always a good tyre in the race. And it's interesting to see when they will be making that cut. Up in the front, they are just fully controlling this race. Slash has only used a little bit, but from now on, he should just not be all that worried of Kart Racer. I think what he should be worried about more is Diogo Silva not really catching that train. But if he keeps making mistakes like that, Diogo Silva will eventually catch, just breaking a little bit too late, ending up on the outside curb there, which makes it a lot harder for you to go on the throttle and a lot easier to spin. And Slash now has already burned 20% whilst leading, which is very far from ideal.
Yeah, it feels like Slashy is trying to get away from Car Racer and burn a bit of his battery, and it's not really working as we've got Julian making the move back on Rodas. So Julian now back at the front of his train, which is probably not what any of the drivers in the train particularly want. As I mentioned about the medium tire runners pitting, Slinky has made the first call to go onto hard tires, and I tell you what, on fresh hards and Julian at the front of that train, he could make up some serious time, particularly on these cars that were in front of him.
Definitely, it will take a couple of laps to warm up these hards, but you're not expecting the medium drivers to pit on this lap. I'm expecting the medium drivers to pit around lap 16, 17, maybe lap 15, but I find that a bit early myself. If you just compare it to the moment that Slinky went into the pit lane. Tallies though, he has been stuck on the back of this Alpha Tauri. You can't call it sandwich, but it is just both Alpha Tauris up ahead. It is Zabi and Daniel. Daniel looked really promising in qualifying, but not really show in the end there. And now in the race, he's really struggling because he just has got Thales behind him. He's going defensive, but no one has any ERS this race. And I think that is what is typical of China. No one having any battery, and it is just who can push that car the most to perfection. And if you still have a little bit of ERS left, who can use it the best. Let's see though, Roda is unable to make a move this time round on to Julian, and there goes Zabi indeed round. I mentioned his name just then, but Thales now only has one Alpha Tauri ahead of him, and it will be too soon because he is in the pit lane. He will be pitting for a new set of the hard compound of tires. And Mercedes pit crew is there as well, but no Mercedes coming into the pit lane, unless that is a visual bug on my end. Thales has left the session actually. That is really unfortunate. I hope you could invite him back in because I wonder what he could do. Is that possible, Jake?
I think he hopefully should have an invite because I was still able to use mine from earlier, so he should hopefully have. And I think drivers probably would have got a spare one, hopefully. So hopefully he can join back. If he doesn't, I'll keep an eye on the chat just in case.
Yeah, Sabi Moonwar spun again. So 2 spins in 2 laps. Make that 3 spins though. He does save this one. Well done. Oh my days, Sabi, bro. Keep it in a straight line. You're not doing Formula Drift. You are driving a Formula 1 car. Formula Drift, by the way. Elite Series. You need to watch it on YouTube. They run Long Beach as of late. Absolutely amazing to see how close drivers could get to the wall there to perfection. But let's focus on the Formula 1 part of things, because Juventus Racing Fleddy, he's recently moved there. He was a QRT previously. He is starting to attack Ruti Gullit, who's outside the DRS zone. And an attack there from Sesko and Rodas. They are still side by side coming in towards the final corner. A big nudge there from Rodas. He's not having it. And he is defending there. His place, Ruti Gullit goes in already. He is the first person to come towards the medium tires. Francesco though, burning at ERS on 0%, trying to get back at it. Up the inside in turn 1, you can run 2 lines here. Either the long line around the outside, which gives you more momentum up in the end, and he keeps you up in the inside here, or you make it inside immediately. The inside line eventually works for Francesco because he is up in P8, demoting Rodas to P9, but they have lost the DRS detection zone compared to Julian. Maybe up in the inside again, Rodas, no, he makes a look, he makes a little fake and dive, but he eventually holds back and Zabi retires into the pit lane.
Yeah, that all started really when Rodas got way too hot on the brakes into the hairpin, nearly went into Julian. Julian's probably a heart would have been in his mouth as he saw the Williams get dangerously close to hitting the back of him. And yeah, that was super hard in the mouth moment. But Francesco eventually makes the move, takes advantage of that error. As we've got a yellow flag. Who is that for?
Ruti Gullit? Ruti Khalid has spun. It is the Alfa Romeo. Ruti Khalid just on fresh medium tires, overcooking a little bit on the exit, and he is out. He made an incredible undercut, hoping that people would react, but after that spin, drivers will not be reacting, Ruti. I can tell you that right now for free, and it was also two other cars who've gone off. It is Tally's and... Oh, it was the retired car of Zabi. I thought they made contact with each other. We see two drivers in the pit though. It is Daniel and Maso Grisny responding to the dirty call from Ruti Khalid, or just making their own strategy. Julian and Francisco are in as well. They are reacting to that call from Ruti Khalid. Let's see who can profit the best from this all.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see those drivers react. I wonder if they feel like they've been held up by Diogo Silva and want to try and get on the fresh tyres. It's just going to be the case of can they get them up to temperature quicker. Obviously, it'll be much quicker to get the mediums up to temperature than the hards, but Ruti Hullett's shown it's still not easy as he now comes back into the pits, and I wonder if there's some damage on that Alfa Romeo because he is back into the pits. Hopefully he's retired from the race. So wow, that's a big moment in the title race potentially. Ruti Hullett second in the championship, out of the race with his teammate and title rival potentially on course for a very strong result, if not the win.
Yep, and that cost him so many points. I find it a bit of a weak mentality, but the Finn, he is here to win races, and if he makes mistakes like that, and he realizes it is done for him to get any good points, I would understand that he retired. But Link's will retire as well.
I thought Car Racer was thinking about a move into turn 14, but he opted against it. And are either of these two going to blink this lap and make a pit stop? Car Racer is in.
Car Racer there, being the first person going for the undercut on Slash, and it will be interesting now if Kart Racer is going to push to get Slash outside of the 1 second range, or if he just wants to be ahead because of that long straight. I don't think you want to be ahead on the final lap. It depends. You have 28 laps for the drivers to test out who has higher downforce, who has lower downforce, and they know it a lot better than we do currently. If Kart Racer feels like, okay, I feel like I'm running 5 wings combined less than Slash, I think I am able to fend him off on the straight and just defend better than him on that final lap. But if Kart Racer's like, I think I have a little bit more downforce, I worry of getting past Slash on that final lap. This is your opportunity to absolutely burn that battery, get ahead of 1 second, and use that extra downforce advantage that you have to absolutely drive him crazily out of your DRS. Slash will undoubtedly respond this lap, but I wonder how he'll do it. He nearly had DRS as well from Nico, but Nico is just about behind him, and he is able to profit from the DRS.
And we've just seen the undercut executed perfectly just behind, with Daniele and Marcel getting past Diogo Silva, having pitted a lap earlier, so they've made the undercut work pretty beautifully. And Diogo Silva's got a lot of work to do to try and catch back up to them. So Kart Racer's seen it being done behind him, so let's see what he can do. He's still got so much battery use. I wonder if he's going to burn it down the straight.
0% battery though for Slash, and he is now in the pit lane. Will he successfully stay within that 1 second mark off of Kart Racer? That is the battle that he will be looking at. Kart Racer now barely burned anything indeed. He will be preparing for maybe the longer fight there, and he can definitely run it away on a later stage as well. He's now coming towards the main grid, and let's go on board with Kart Racer. Will we see Slash pop out on the right hand side ahead of him? There he is, and it will be behind him just about, and I believe that is very bad news for Slash because he now has to warm up those tires and stay within that second, and the ERS difference is 40%, which is absolutely massive. Of course, Kart Racer will not know that unless he has someone chilling in this stream, but he is now pulling away. The gap is 1.1 seconds, and I think Jake, Kart Racer has absolutely done this to perfection.
Yeah, that's absolutely brilliant. It could not have worked out better for Kart Racer. He's got the advantage over Slash. He's got the extra battery usage. He really is in a great position now to go on and win this race. And Slash will be just keeping a nervous eye behind him as well, with Daniele and Marcel not too far behind, definitely within touching distance. And really, Slash and Diogo Silva have lost out, but by pitting that little bit not well. In Diogo's case, pitting early, and Slash's case, pitting late. They just haven't made it work. And Car Racer now, like you say, 1.7 second advantage. Lot of battery usage, which he's actually using a lot of now. So he's trying to make that gap up as big as he can. And then just hopefully control the race from there will be his intention. The one thing he will not want to see in the next 10 laps is a safety car, because he's got that gap exactly where he wants it.
Yeah, and Asi has done very well with his strategy there, being up in P6, and he will be battling Diogo Silva. Of course, after his spin, he was all the way down at P11, I think, even. So if he's able to get P5 out of it, it is still a good result there for the Ferrari driver, but it will not be the result he was looking for. He practiced a lot for this race, and he is definitely one of the quicker guys out on track today, because he barely lost time compared to our pole sitter, which was Thales, after he spun, unfortunately, on his own fully. He's had a pretty worthless race, but it does show that Thales is someone to watch out for in the future. Daniel got really close to the DRS of Slash, but it seems like he made a mistake, because that gap has gone from 1.0 to 1.5 seconds. So he will not be able to profit from the DRS of Slash. So he's gonna have to focus his attention to behind him, Marcel Grizzly, on 60% of ERS. So if he burns a solid amount, he could catch Slash again and fight for P2. But it would make him vulnerable for later on. I thought Ozzy spun there, but it was Nico who spun again, and he is now fully lapped. So I think he might be retiring. He's at a very annoying spot as well. I don't know if he's gonna get out of it. He will be on the apex to wait for other drivers. As Marcel Grizzly, we will go up ahead of ADT Daniel. We were a bit distracted by Nico. I generally thought he was going to get a DSQ, because I have seen people get that before. It is a very annoying place to get out of. But Marcel Grizzly now getting the track limit warning right there, and if he didn't, it is something to report. But
Rodas
he lost quite a bit of time there. It was Rodas, I think, has spun.
Yeah, and he's now dropped off the back of Fleddy, and he's now under all sorts of pressure from Daniel, who I have to say is having a quite anonymous race, really. He's not got any battery either, and for someone running fourth in a championship who's had a lot of good results this season, plenty of fourth places and a podium as well, Daniel really just hasn't had the pace this evening, and he's trying and rescue a few points if he can. That podium spot is really crucial for Daniele, because he will be second place in the championship as things stand. He will be the main threat to Kart Racer, so at every point that he can get is absolutely crucial. But at the moment, it looks like Marcel's just driving away from him.
Yeah, but what it also looks like is that Slash is getting back in the DRS of Kart Racer, which is absolutely incredible. It's not something I was paying attention to. The gap is 9/10. Oh, I think if he lost it on 1,000 of a second, he will be absolutely kicking himself, because he burned absolutely everything to get to this point. Oh no, he did get it on 1,000 of a second. Oh.
But he's within a second now, so if he can just stay close enough, he will get it at the next detection point. I'm just looking at ASY, close to Diogo Silva. Is he going to be close enough for a move? Not quite, but he's shaping up that Williams pretty nicely as he continues his really good recovery. Potentially looking at grabbing P5. There's a tiny bit of field spread now, but Slash is absolutely coming back at Kart Racer. I don't know if Kart Racer is just pacing it slightly, but it's making it very close at the front, very exciting indeed. And Slash, you know, a few drivers in his position would have given up on that after the pit stop phase, but Slash is absolutely not giving this one up at all.
No, it is a very dominant drive from Kart Racer and Slash Curly, but Slash definitely being the more impressive driver of the two of them. Kart Racer burned so much ERS, and one lap of tire deck doesn't really make all that much difference. It starts to matter more at the latter stages of the race, but Kart Racer, he's driving quick because he's not losing time to Marcel Grizzly. Slash is just absolutely driving out of this world. He is so quick currently, and it definitely shows that he wasn't really pushing before that, but he is now. He is in the DRS, and he will be a big threat. So we will be having a fight for P1. It's not something we thought of after the pit stops, but it will happen.
No, and we're definitely glad about that fact. Slash is making this into a real race now, and he has now got the DRS down the long straight, which is what he was hoping for on the previous lap. So let's see what he can do. He's not going to be close enough for a move on this occasion. Nico, a long overdue retirement, unfortunately for him. For someone who's had quite a solid season, it really hasn't been his night tonight after not qualifying. Daniele just coming back at Marcel now, so I don't know what was going on there, but Daniele could be back in a position to fight. So we've got a fight for P1, a fight for P3, and it's also worth noting that ASY's got past Diogo Silva for P5. That was a move that we probably saw coming.
I see there doing that absolutely brilliantly. Just a clean move, going up the inside, realizing, okay, there's space there, you're braking earlier, and just going for the move of the inside and making it sick. That was a very nice move from him, but Francesco is really close to that DRS as well. He's burning and dying to get into there, and I think he will actually do it on the following lap. Francesco, will he take payback though? Oh, what Asi did to him earlier on, if it was NASCAR, we would definitely see a push in the wall. But this is not NASCAR, this is Formula 1, and we see a bit more respect in here than we see in NASCAR. So the question mainly is, we will get P5 there. Will it be Asi or will it be Francesco?
Yeah, and it was a really good timed move for Asi because Francesco and Julian were both closing in, and the last thing he wanted was more cars to get involved before he'd overtaken the Williams. So really good timing, and he's hoping now he can try and pull away before Francesco passes the Williams in front. Like you say, Slash is just absolutely so quick at this stage. Marcel and Daniele are not in this fight for the win at all. They've just been left behind in the last 5 laps, and it looks like Marcel had the edge on Daniele, but now it looks like Daniele is clawing that back. So really, it's tough to call right now who's going to win this race and who's going to get the final step on the podium.
Yeah, I mean, the top step of the podium is something that it's going to be very interesting. Slash is in 310s off the back of Car Racer in turn 1, which is absolutely incredible. I'm looking at Daniel versus Rodas right now. Daniel going up for the move up in P10, going all the way around the outside. Rodas defended the inside, but on the ideal line, Daniel was able to brake later and take over that position. And he now has a gap of 5.7 seconds up ahead to close down to get Fleddy's position. I don't think that will be happening anytime soon, unless we get a safety car. It's still possible. We had 4 DNFs, and all 4 of them in the pit lane, unfortunately. So it will be interesting to see if that safety car will still come. You got a huge runoff area pretty much everywhere on the track, so it's not really common to see that safety car right there. It does make it a bit more safe, but it does also make it a bit more boring because you do not get any of those safety cars. But it does make the fight up ahead even more exciting.
Yeah, definitely, and this is huge for Car Racer and Slash. You know, both drivers. I mean, Slash will still potentially hold out hope so he can get back in this title race, but he will also know with the strong position Car Racer's in, it's probably key that he beats him here tonight. They've both got 1 win to their name so far this season. Car Racer in Austria, Slash in France. So they both want to add a second win to their tally for this season. There's a lot at stake here, and likewise behind, Daniele knows he can't afford to be off the podium tonight when Kart Racer is in such a strong position in front. So a lot of battles going on. You've got Francesco looking like he wants to make a move on Diogo Silva, but of course Diogo Silva still has a DRS off of Ferrari, which is, I think, really helping him defend, because I think if he lost that, I don't think he'd have much defense against Francesco, because I would say the McLaren looks to me like the quicker driver at this moment in time.
I disagree with that. I think Asi is maybe even quicker than that, because he is gaining and nearly closed fully up the back of Marcel Gresini and ADT Daniel's train. So he is absolutely pushing it like crazy and nearly driving Diogo Silva out of the DRS zone as well. So he is very quick. And of course you can't forget about Slash as well, being up there in P2, only 5 more laps to go. It's going to be very close, but there was a small mistake there from Asi which put him all the way back then to 1.5 seconds outside of the DRS range, of course, and inside the DRS range from Diogo Silva, which means that Francesco is unlikely to be able to make a move here, but he does have 14% of ERS, which is more than what Diogo Silva has, and he is burning out on this straight. So will we see the McLaren driver make a move? He is lining it up. He will go for it, Jake, I think.
Yeah, I think he's got to. After draining his battery, he must. Oh, and Diogo Silva went a bit deep on the brakes, and this is going to give Francesco an opportunity, but he's got the better line than Williams driver. It's very difficult to make it work around the outside of turn 16. Nearly runs into the back of him, and this is not helping Diogo Silva keep within DRS range of the Ferrari. But for now, he holds on to P6. Francesco, though, I think he really wanted to make that move work there because he drained his battery. But Diogo Silva still had pretty good straight line speed.
Yeah, definitely. It will be interesting to see, and if he catches, I think it will ruin the plans from Daniel, because Daniel has been saving up, preparing to get that podium spot. 35% of ERS compared to Marcel Grizzly's 25% ERS does give him the advantage there, and now he's just absolutely draining his battery, trying to get in, which forces Marcel Grizzly and Daniel to go a bit quicker, and that they can't fully let their guard down and drop the pace. As he keeps just gaining the time, like I was saying, you gain all your time in Sector 1 and Sector 2, and then you just see the DRS of the guys ahead, and you just absolutely lose more and more time. But I think because it's a two-man DRS and he won't be losing all that much. Diogo Silva is out of the DRS though, so that means that Francesco will finally be able to get his opportunity to go past Diogo Silva.
And Diogo Silva not draining his battery in response, so doesn't seem overly fussed about losing the position really. He didn't five that one too hard. Maybe he recognises Francesco is just a little bit quicker, and maybe by letting Francesco go, he thinks there might be more opportunities for him in the closing laps. But look how close Slash is to Car Racer. Is he going to make a move into turn 1? No, he's not. There isn't really anywhere for him to go on that occasion, but only 2 tenths behind. I didn't realise quite how close he'd got to the back of Car Racer, and same behind of Daniele. So the fights are closing in, and this battle for the lead is far from over, and Slash has been saving his battery since he got right up to the back of Kart Racer.
Yeah, it is very nicely done from Slash, and I think the last 2 laps will be full focus on that battle up there. I don't think Slash even wants to make a move right now. He is just happy to chill behind to see what happens and to profit from any mistake that Kart Racer makes, and then he has the opportunity to absolutely push like crazy and try to drive away. Asi is nearly there. The gap is 1.1, 1.03, 1.0, 0.9, 1.0. Is he gonna get it? Yes or no this lap? It was not that ideal, the double left-hander. Let's see right now. Is he gonna get in? I don't think so, Jake. Or will he? No, he didn't.
Oh, he's very close though, and the time he gained this lap was around 3-4 tenths, so I feel like next lap he's going to be in a strong position as long as he doesn't come under threat from Francesco behind. Diogo Silva just becoming detached further behind, so he hasn't been able to stick close to the back of Francesco, who I think has had a really quick lap this time around to get straight onto the back of the Ferrari, who we know is pushing himself. So it's really hotting up here, and if you can get a 4-way battle for 3rd place, this would increase the risk for Daniele, who has probably got one eye on thinking about a championship, and he doesn't want more cars getting involved into his battle, but it looks like that could be happening.
Yeah, definitely. And I think now is the time that the tension starts building up in front. Kart Racer knows what he has to do. He has to defend. Slash knows what he has to do. He has to attack and profit and maybe gain one more position. Once we see a yellow flag, it is actually Links letting everyone through, so do not panic there. I was definitely not looking at the scoreboard to see who spun. Yeah, all those tensions will be going down at tallies as the left session again, but he will not be scoring any points either way. Question is now, who will strike first? Who will first take the opportunity to go up in the lead and to go for a Provatox, meanwhile going for a new set of soft compound of tyres? I think it will happen on the next lap, Jacob.
Yeah, and the Ferrari is going to have DRS, so he's got within a second of the
It's
fight in
happening this
front.
lap, Jake. I'm sorry to interrupt. Slash is
Yeah.
going for the move on Kart Racer. He is going for the lead
Oh.
now. Lap 26 out of 28. Slash, the ETA driver, takes the lead, but he goes wide, and Kart Racer is able to get back that position. It was the first attack from Slash, and it got countered by Kart Racer. But
Yeah,
we're not
nice.
done. We're not
No.
done actually. Slash wants part two. He's had the main dish. He's going for the serve right now. Around the outside there in turn one. He makes it sick, but Kart Racer keeps his front nose up there as well. Side by side through turn one. They're fully taking it to the death here on lap 27. They're not waiting for the final lap. Slash wants to take this lead, and he does take this lead. Slash up in first place. Actually, not really, because Kart Racer has a better exit. Going up the inside now here, maybe. Still side by side. This is absolutely amazing driving from the two of them. Kart Racer keeps his P1. He has got the more ERS advantage though, because Slash definitely had to burn more to make these two overtakes happen. Kart Racer now has the upper hand.
Yeah, that was a really big play for Kart Racer. He's kept the lead while Slash has drained his battery in his attempt to attack. That was super racing. Pretty much around half a lap going side by side. A lot of respect given, but there wasn't much room at times. It was beautiful to watch. And you just wonder now, is Slash going to maybe play it a little bit safe on this lap and save it all up ready for one last attack? But it looks like he's draining his battery again. So is he going to go for it again on this lap? I don't know if that was the move.
He will.
To
He's
make.
going to absolutely send it.
I think he's going to have no choice. Kart Racer's felt the need to go defensive, but he's positioned his car really nicely, so there wasn't really anywhere for Slash to go. Slash using again some of his battery, so he's thinking about turn one. This is so close. Can he make the move as we go on to the final lap? Slash has got the DRS, but he's not close enough, and he's drained all his battery. Car Racer might just have pulled off a blinder here, but we still have one big straight to go. There's one more final opportunity for Slash to grab the lead, as we've got the fight for third place as Marcel having to defend from Daniele, and he's done so successfully, but that fight's going to keep going all the way to the flag.
I think Slash has to make an overtaking opportunity in a point where Kart Racer does not expect it. Kart Racer has it more under control battery-wise. So on the straight, Slash will not be winning it. I think Slash had to maybe make that move up there on the inside of turn 4, I believe that is. Or I don't know how many Sport Kings there are. The corner after the first DRS detection point. The real corner, first corner in sector 2. He had to make the move there, he didn't. And now he will just be in a lot of trouble. I think he attacked at the wrong time. So it will not be a victory from Slash as it looks like right now, unless Kart Racer makes any mistakes. Kart Racer on 30% of ERS. He is chilling, and if he doesn't do anything wrong, he should be able to win this race. At least not get overtaken here on this massive straight. The gap is 6 tenths, but he will just be extending. He's only now flashing, and the gap is 7 tenths. There is no way that Slash will be catching up to him. And I think Kart Racer has done this to absolute perfection. I think behind here, it will be more interesting. But all the fights have happened there as well. Kart Racer has done this perfectly. Good undercut strategy to get up ahead of Slash. Make Slash burn more ERS to get back in there. Has he got any fuel left? He does. It looked like he was slowing down, but Kart Racer wins in China. Up ahead of Slash. Marcel Grizzly into Daniel. Up there in 4th. That battle was very interesting. As he in the end making sure he got in that DRS train but was unable to profit from it. Francesco in P6, our pole sitter, unable to really get a lot of good points after some contact lap 1 with Asi. Wow, this has been a beautiful race, Jake.
Yeah, really dramatic climax to this race, and Kart Racer, I have to say, drove like a champion really there. He held his battery use when Slash was coming at him. He didn't panic and drain it all. He held it together, and Slash kind of shot his last attempt of the lap too early, I feel. I think he would have been better saving it for the
Tallies
last
is in
lap.
the lead on my screen.
Oh no.
That would be quite something. If
I'm
he's
sure
somehow
that's
that desynced that he won this race, if that has happened, it would be a massive throw around, because he did leave the session a few times. He did get kicked. It will be interesting to see what happens there. We just have to look at his race time, I guess. But Overtouch he's going for fastest lap, but he's 4 seconds slower than his previous best. Yeah, he is just wiggling around, showing off, showboating Thought he was going to go in the pit lane there, but he did actually make the corner. He goes across the line to get in P14 and finish this race. He's going to do the backwards, actually. A bit of style punch right there. But that was the Chinese Grand Prix all set and done.
Yeah, it was a really entertaining watch. Really watching those two fights right at the end, and you can't say more than well done to Kart Racer. He had a lot of pressure on him in those closing stages, and he never once looked like he panicked, and held off a very strong attack from Slash, who nevertheless I think will still be very happy with P2 because he has struggled for a good result since that win in France. So yeah, good result for Slash too. And then Marcel holding off the chasing pack for his best result of the season. That was a good effort from him as well. It's worth pointing out. And in terms of the championship, obviously these are provisional results, of course, but Kart Racer looking very strong, and 2 wins and 2 second places in his last 4 races. He's really put together a strong run of results at the perfect time.
Yeah, my screen tallies does the fastest lap with a 14 minutes 47, which I don't think is correct. And he's also in the lead, being 1.5 minutes quicker than everyone else. So I think there has been a massive bug there. So let's just go ahead and say that Kart Racer has won this race, because I think we all know that is the true winner. Kart Racer wins in China, up ahead of Slash. There you got Marcel Grizzly up in 3rd place, Daniel Assi and Francesco, an Italian trio in P4, 5 and 6. Diogo Silva, Julian Fleddy and Daniel round out the top 10, with then Rodas, Slinky, Provatox, Links, Nico, Ruti Galit, Sabi and Toxicometer rounding it out. Nico, Ruti Galit, Sabi and Toxicometer all having a DNF.
Yeah, I was going to say if a lap time of 14 minutes was the fastest lap, I think even I could have a good go in F4, to be honest. But well done to the top 3. I think they all drove really, really well there, and it was a lot of fun to commentate on, and it was a lot of clean battling at the end. Sometimes you can see drivers get a bit desperate towards the end, and you can see a few clumsy accidents. It was nice to see that didn't happen on this occasion, and we got very fair fights throughout the field.
Yeah, definitely. But that has been F4 for this week. I would like to thank you all very much for watching. We won't be doing any interviews this week because I have other commitments to go to. I'd like to thank all of you guys for watching. And I will not be back for the rest of the season because I do have a surgery. But definitely tune in next week again to see Jake and Felix commentate back over F4 to see who wins there. Thank you guys all very much for watching. I've been Timon, my co-coms has been Jake, and I'd like to thank you guys all for watching, and have a great night.